This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
In a desolate location in Kazakhstan, beneath a crumbling hangar, sits a once glorious flying machine, the Soviet Space Shuttle. Now rusted and cannibalized, she rests nearly forgotten, emoting a nostalgic sadness felt by the few who visit. In an adjacent continent, a once glorious SimRacing series suffers a similar fate. A pioneer in the early days of broadcasted private iRacing leagues, with apathy from within and competition from without, the series now claws to survive like an old lion pushed out of the herd by younger cats. Today, we show a struggle not just between drivers for higher rungs on a points ladder, but for the life of a sim racing series itself. From Germany, the MX-5 World Tour comes to the Nürburgring's Nordschleife for round 8 on its season 17 schedule. And you can see all the simulated Mazda action from green flag to victory donuts live as it happens right here on the Global Sim Racing channel via the iRacing Esports Network. Hello and welcome to the Sim Sports News Countdown to Green. Over the next 15 minutes, GSRC will bring you all the storylines, all the stats and facts you'll need to appreciate this MWT Round 8 event that will immediately follow. In an opening segment more suited for David Attenborough than someone on the GSRC roster of commentators, it's yours truly, Bill Soupson, joined by Stefan Slocker to bring you our Words Eye View. Stefan, short of Attenborough, there is nobody I'd rather have help me call a race here at the ring than you. Tell us a little bit what lies before the drivers today.
Well, Soup, having run myself over 1,000 virtual laps around this legendary behemoth in all sorts of cars that truly is in the corner, I don't know. The Nordschleife has seen new tarmac around a few areas in real life, smoothing out bumps and making cars go faster with better tarmac grip. These guys won't have that new tarmac feel today, however. For them, it's all about smoothness on the input, keep that momentum up, and focus on the turns that lead you onto the full throttle parts. I also got a little snack for our number, guys. 154 turns are spread out over these 12.94 miles of this circuit. That's 11.9 turns per mile. Today, we won't show you every single one of those, as that would take just way too long. So let Joe Peak talk you around the most important stuff in our GSRC lap guide.
Alright, we've got Amjad Yaman in the GSRC MX-5, so let's do a lap around the Nürburgring. The Nord curve will have a tricky entry with the downhill causing some understeer. Drivers will really want to ensure they get the nose tucked into the apex. But we're going to jump ahead and look at the rest of the track since an entire lap would be too long to cover. High Oaks isn't too difficult in the MX-5, but the exit requires every ounce of momentum you can squeeze out of the car. You'll be flat out all the way through Flugplatz until the Swedish Cross. You can stay on the gas through this fast sweeper, but the important thing is to line up your braking for Erdenberg. This is a good potential passing zone, but once again, square off your corner exit to maximize your launch down into the foxhole, where speeds will get pretty high. Later on, we hit Oudener Forst with its scary fast kinked entry. Continue to slow the car down as the track veers right, then swing the car wide and late apex the left-hander. Get on the power as soon as you dare, or else you'll leave yourself vulnerable to the run up to Metzgefeld. Further down the hill, we come to miss, hit, miss. Follow the name for the apexes and you've got the correct line. Keep the car to the left and do your best to keep it stable under braking in a defense valley. It's easy to get over-eager and plow the car into the armco to the outside, so be wary of how deep you send it in. Jumping ahead, one of the most critical turns you'll come across is Bergwerk. You'll be flat to the floor climbing uphill for a long time, so make sure you come off the corner carrying your speed. Up at the top, you'll run into one of the most unique corners in all of racing, the carousel. It's banked, but that banked part is only one car wide. Hold the throttle steady around the bend and then floor it so that the car comes out just as the banking ends. Now let's look at Vipperman. It translates to Seesaw Man, and it used to be much bumpier than this. It still retains its difficulty with the way you need to pound over these curves. You get a short rest before the right-hander where you'll be lulled into thinking it can be taken faster than is possible. The crest sends the car very wide, so pay heed. Down into Ashbrook, this bend is best if taken as two apexes to help line yourself up on the left at the exit. That's because it immediately transitions into the right-hander, which dumps you into Brunchen. Another distinct corner on the ring is Flansgarden, where the car gets a bit of air on entry. The uphill bend portion of this corner needs a little lift and a dab of the brakes, but you can mostly power through it. Then there's the tricky Swallowtail. Lift to slow it down through the right-hander and try your best to get the car settled. The track suddenly switches back into a crested left-hander that pays dividends if you can press your foot to the floor early. Coming up is the Mini Carousel, which is a shorter, faster version of its big brother. You can be a lot more aggressive in this one than the larger one. Drift the car back to the left and you've got the most critical turn of the circuit. Gallow Hill needs a small lift, but get to the gas quickly and be smooth with your inputs. Keeping your momentum up here is needed since it'll come back to haunt you for nearly a mile. As you exit the corner, you finally hit the needed rest of the Doringer Hoa. At the end of this long straight is Tiergarten and then Hohenrad. Get to the brakes where the Armco ends and then try to get it woed up for the right-hander. Hug tight to the curb on the left and then lightly hit the brakes for the oddly named Turn 13. As you come off this final corner, you've now finished a lap around the Nürburgring.
And that was how you drive the most important parts around this beautiful, beautiful green hell. And before we give it over to the points for the Pro Championship, remember that the Countdown to Green is sponsored by SimSport News. SimSport News is one of the leading sim racing news websites that covers all broadcasted series on iRacing and is run by Jacob Tofts and Lois Emerton. Not just reporting, they also race, as SimSport News Racing competes in many official top-level iRacing series. For more info, visit simsportnews.com. And we have a little bit of a smaller field today, especially in the Pro category, so it will be interesting to see how that plays out for the Points Championship, Soup.
Yeah, illustrated when I talk about some of these. Sonny Kenshin sits at the top of the chart. He's not here today. Jaume Torres sits second, 120 points back. Also not here today. Remember, they don't have drop races in this series. Stefan will talk a little bit more about that later. They get no-show compensation, where they get a percentage of their average finish. Steven Van Opstroh sits third, also not here, as is Nicholas Berger. So the first driver who shows up that actually has a chance to score some points, that is Jean-Franc Pinot. Let's go and look at, Stefan, now the Amateur Championships.
Yeah, and that Amateur Championship is sponsored by SimSport News, the before-mentioned SimSport News. And Björn de Vork, he is leading your championship points with 466 points to his name, but he is not here today, the Belgian driver. Derek Holland in second place. He is here today, 33 points behind, and this is Holland's big chance to get up top and put some distance between himself and De Forge, or even Wortmann, who is just 80 points behind. He's also here today. He gained in the last round a position over Stefan van Veenhoff. He is 83 points behind, so 3 points behind Wortmann. He is not here today. Next guy in line, that's Jean-Marie Fugu, the French driver. 86 points behind. He's here today. He gained a last round, the 5th position in his standings. So he is looking to make a move on the guys ahead of him.
All right, let's jump down to the race details, see how far we're going today.
Yeah, and as already mentioned, season 17 here, round 8 of 11. So only 3 more rounds to go. Race distance today, only 6 laps. But calculated up, that's still 60 miles that they have to race today. 1 stop is required, so that will be interesting when these guys will make that open setup, so they can tinker away as much they want. Not that much to do in this MX-5 anyway, but it still can make a huge difference. Incident cap, there is none, but they get a miles per incident bonus. Obviously, the more bonus, the lower
There is a definite pit stop today. If you haven't had a chance, I will not give you a spoiler alert here, but you'll want to check the Advanced Mazda Cup race that took place less than 24 hours ago. Very exciting race here on GSRC, which involved pit strategy. And we had a nice winner for that, but we'll talk a little bit more about that one as the race progresses. Qualifying going on right now. There's only 9 drivers here today. 8 have put in qualifying times. 1 driver has not, but we hope he can get that in. That is the very fast driver, the Greek streak, Jonas Mumilidis, racing out there in the number 27 machine.
Yeah, and Soup, we just had it on our screen, the track temperature, 96 Fahrenheit with quite a stiff wind from the south, so that might actually be a bit interesting for these guys. So there you have it once again on your screen. 96 is the track temperature, 65 in the air, partly cloudy, so we're expecting that to rise a bit more, fall a bit more in the darker spots of this track. So it should be very interesting how these guys will cope with their tires.
Qualifying almost done. Remember, you're watching this broadcast on the iRacing Esports Network, the best of the best in the iRacing World Championships, as well as many top private leagues like the one you're watching right now, are showcased right here on the iRacing Esports Network. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe. GSRC is proud to be part of the IESN stable of broadcasters. We look at the ring. There is Jerome Ursa. Now, there's a lot of names down here. If you've been a fan of this series for a long time, there was a call to arms to bring drivers in. We have a small field, only 9 drivers here. Congratulations, though, to drivers who did show up. Jeroen Ursum, Trip Smith, and Joe McDonald. Those guys always put on a good show. They never race up front, but they're very competitive farther back. All 3 of those, with the small field that we have today, and attrition being a factor, have a chance for personal best. We wish them the best. Maybe we can finally see a top 5 from one of those guys.
Yeah, you know what they say, one ring to rule them all, and they have the chance to do that. So we'll have to see if they're actually able to perform well here. They certainly have been given the chance to do so. And we have seen Jeroen Ursum already try to challenge for a podium, and that was at Spa just about 4 weeks ago. So Jeroen, when he gets a good day, he really can challenge for that win.
You're looking there at Jonas Mumilidis, who would be a favorite to win this one. It would help if he could get in a qualifying time. He's working his way. Just negotiated the carousel. Got a little bit more of the twisty section to go before he brings it home. Marcelo Pajan sits at the top. He put in an 8 minute, 7 second, .693. About a half second faster than Jean-Frank Pinot.
And Jonas Mumilidis, you will be able, if you're a big fan of him, you will be able to see him 3 times within 48 hours here on GSRC. Yesterday in the Advanced MX-5 Cup, today here in the MX-5 World Tour, and then tomorrow he completes that triple header yet again with the Big C's MX-5 Challenge.
Boy, that's a good series too. If you like MX-5 racing, fixed setups, big grids, that's a fun one to watch. Stefan will be calling that one.
Oh, I can tell you, it is fun, but also very hectic, because it's 40 minutes of pure stress, not only for the drivers, but also for us up in the commentary booth, but also the ring. It is 40 minutes of pure stress because of how many turns it throws at you, and in also quick succession, as already mentioned, with how many turns we have per mile here.
There's Trip Smith in his familiar red MX-5. Trip's proud of it, likes to pretend he's driving a Ferrari.
Bit slower than a Ferrari.
Yeah, bit. There's Joe McDonald.
Let's see, I think he still has... Yeah, he's coming over to... Never mind.
As he's going to take it in the pits. Finally, let's look at Mumilidis. He is almost to Gallo Hill as he works his way through the little carousel. I'm assuming that his lap is still clean. He's out there racing, so let's hope he gets into time. Through this final right-hander. Now it's pretty much just a straight shot.
doesn't matter what car this right-hander always feels as if it's as long as the universe. Now he goes onto the straight that is as long as the universe.
What is interesting on this, on the last lap, if it comes down to a passing situation, you have to be careful not to pass the car too soon, because they can come back on you. This straight is so long, they can come back on you even a third time. So you really have to time your pass.
Oh yeah, if you get it up to a Tiergarten where we are right now, the Bilsteinstein, if you make the pass happen here, then you're pretty much safe on the run down and up again. There shouldn't be anyone coming back because the track just switches sides way too much here to really make anything happen. But let's see what he can do through those last two turns.
Here comes the finish line right here.
Wow!
Boom! Up to the very top. Let's go to the grid, and it is the Greek streak. Jonas Moumelidis, sitting on pole, puts in an 8-minute 6-second 0.216 lap. Marcelo Pajan, the Italian driver, is going to be outside him with an 8:07.693. Jean-Franc Pinot, the French driver, with an 8:08.109. It's going to be inside of Derek Holland. Now, this last one I'll take with an 8-minute 11-second lap, 0.913. Stefan?
Jean-Marie Foudou, the French driver, in 6th place. Alongside him will be Joe McDonald in 7th place. The last row, so to speak, it's actually 2 rows, are Trip Smith and Jerome Husson down in 8th and 9th place.
Make sure he doesn't feel left out. We'll talk about the Sheriff, Jordy Fike, sitting in 5th down in there. Well within striking distance. All about staying in the draft right now, but it's tough here because there's a lot of twisty sections. We expect Moumelidis and Pajan probably to break away and this to be a 2-car fight.
Yeah, and we have to say this, it's a bit of a weird one, this starting grid, because P1 is actually lining out on the right side, so he's actually on the outside for turn 1, so that always can lead to some attack by P2 into turn 1.
The betting window is open for the Joe McDonald, Trip Smith, and Jeroen Ursum's contest. We'll see who wins down there. Smart money is on McDonald. Watch out for Ursum. Little engines start to harmonize. Gather up the chicken steak, cover me on the cows. The horses are out of the barn. Getting a really good jump was the French driver Jean-Franc Pinot. I hope he didn't jump to start. That would be deadly.
Oh,
Back
we
in
have
behind
contact.
Websman.
Derek Holland turned around. He had contact with Jean-Marie Foudou there.
They were side by side into the first corner. They bumped. We'll come back and look at it a little bit later. We'll have plenty of time to look at that one. Meanwhile, up in front, racing out of Germany, hailing from Greece, it is Jonas Moumelidis trying to pull away from Marcelo Pajan, the longtime veteran of the series. The Italian driver sits in 2nd. Jean-Franc Pinot in 3rd.
Yeah, in 4th place, Jordy Fike, he gained 1 position there over Derek Holland, who, as we mentioned, did spun out. He had a terrible start to begin with. And in 5th place, rounding out the top 5 after the start, is Jean-Marie Foudou.
Now, Fike was actually about over 6 seconds slower than our pole sitter. Of course, these laps are very long, so 6 seconds is a bit misleading, but nevertheless, he'll be hard-pressed to stay with these guys. He's doing a good job right now as they head down into this right-hander, the Aram Mountain. And Stefan, you have permission to correct my pronunciation on any of these corner names.
And Arenberg is not a mountain, it's actually a town here outside of Nürburgring.
Through the foxhole, they continue to race. 4 cars pulling away. Fike up by about 3.5 seconds over Foudou. Foudou had that incident early on with Holland. That probably slowed them down. Let's check in on the 3-car battle in the back real quick. See how Joe McDonald...
Oh, Trip Smith and Jeroen Husson. Trip Smith hard into the wall. There you can see the striking car of him, and he tows it directly
both of them, there's a bit of target fixation here on Jeroen Ursum, unless they both hit some oil, which is not part of the program.
No, that was just a part of braking a little bit too late. I think Jeroen Ursum, yeah, he felt how his car also stepped out, so he had to jump off the brake. But yeah, Trip Smith just no luck at all, way too deep on the brakes there. Yeah, unlucky break for him, and his race is already done as a big cloud moves over the ring.
Well, any chance? Look, if we look at the replay again, there goes Smith off. Ursum keeps the car going. Any chances for Smith to set a personal best? Go out the window? Although I guess he will get ninth. Who knows? That's a possibility. We'll have to check to see if he's ever done better than that. Ursum vultures a spot, though, looking for that first top 5. Meanwhile, up front, there's Ursum. Mumalidi's not able to pull away from Pajan. And Pino right behind him as well. The Sheriff lose in touch with the posse as those 3 cars start to pull away.
Yeah, Jordy Fike, the last few turns weren't very kind to him. Everything past, forced everything there. He lost a little bit of time, which you can see, but the draft is long enough. The streets are long enough right now. The bent straights, one would have to say. So he will be back up to the back of them once we get to the carousel.
As they head down towards there, they'll be there in a little while. You know, 1/3 of Germany is covered in forest and woodlands. Certainly, that's understandable as we race here. Hey, look at Fike beginning to run these guys down a bit as I think he was in the tow as they go through a Convent Valley. Jordy Fike is right back in the hunt.
Yeah, the tow in these cars is quite huge. They don't look like it, but they punch a big hole. It's about 1.5 seconds the effective draft in these cars. And Jordy Fike putting it to very good application there to pull himself back into the lead group.
Fike may not be as great through the technical sections, but if he can stay close for 5.5 more laps, give him a shot on the long straight that ends this lap, he's got a chance at a win. All right, let's go ahead and look at the opening incident on very first corner that got Holland in bad shape here as he was going side by side with Fergu.
Yeah, there you can see that. I don't know what happened to him, but it looks like he missed a gear or something like that, because he's really slow compared to everyone else. And then, yeah, Fergu turns in, spotter obviously not working yet. He thought he was already clear. Turns in, the car of Derek Holland was still there, and they make contact not once but twice, and Holland goes around.
Yeah, as you could hear on board, you hear that maybe he missed a shift. That's what got him into trouble. Up front, through the technical sections now, Ioannis Mumalides starts to open up a bit of a gap. 1.2 seconds on the Italian Marcello Pajan.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean a little bit out of the window and say Mumalides has tuned in his car near perfectly through the technical section. Really opens up that gap yet again, but Pagna, as long as he is still within the 1.5 to 2 seconds of Mumalides, he will come up to the back of him and maybe even try to overtake him past Tiergarten.
Track opens up a little bit here as they head into the, there's a little right-hander and then the left-hander that is the little carousel. Little bit of a break through the winding sections.
Going into Schwalbenschwanz now. Left-hander, very tricky. Uphill and off-camber, big curb on the outside, and then into the little carousel. Pagna making a big mistake there. That really opens up now the gap. Does pinch Pinot a little bit there, side by side, through the right-hander.
Now through really the final corner here, what I call Gallo Hill. That's the English translation. Stefan will probably know what that is in German. Now let's see if these guys can run them down. The gap, 2.4 seconds.
It's actually one of the few corners that I don't know the name of the back of my hand.
Okay. Here we go. Let's watch these guys work together. Let's see if Pinot will go around. Now, if Pajan is smart, he'll tuck in behind, and maybe they can do it one more time to see if they can run down Mumalides. They've closed the gap a little bit. It was 2.2 when they started. Now it's down to 1.6. Let's see if, but here comes Pajan coming back. Boy, but it's man, it is up to about 2 seconds now.
Yeah, I think that little mistake from Panya really did seal the deal on the pursuit for first to Mumalides. As long as he doesn't make mistakes, he might be able to creep away from these two guys behind him, but we have to wait and see up to Adenauer Forst, because we have the big straight up to Adenberg and then through Fuchsröhre, so it still can be close, this gap that we see before us right now.
1 lap down, 5 to go. The Greek streak living up to his nickname, Jonas Mumalides. Out in front by 2 seconds now over Marcelo Pajan. Pinot in third. Fike did lose touch, back by about 2 seconds. Let's go and check in on the...
Sorry, Joey Fike had a big slide just now. Was able to catch it again, but yeah, his pursuit of per 3 is with that pretty much officially done, as he has now 2 seconds between himself and Pinot.
We have time to look at this replay. Here's the sheriff.
Yeah, just look at how much wheel effort he has to put in to save that car. He goes over the right now, then out of the left, he's gonna lose it. There he goes.
Good news is he lives to race some more. The bad news is he loses touch with Pinot. He's got about 8.5 seconds up on Frigo. Go ahead, Steph.
Yeah, I just want to queue up there. One guy who hasn't lost touch with anyone is Derek Holland. He's on the back of Jeroen Orsum now, going up to Schwedenkreuz. Actually goes side by side now, and he goes past with ease. There you can see it. Beautiful pass. Jeroen Orsum, no chance with the draft.
Remember, Holland had trouble on the first corner. He drives away now, picking up 1 spot. Holland started in 4th. Got a ways to go. Oh, getting really wide there, but he's okay. Let's go ahead and stay on this one a little bit as we watch Ursum.
Yeah, the next, if we can get clear of Ursum, the next big hit of Derek Holland will be the Joe McDonald record. So, if he can get up there, that will be his next battle. Maybe even bring Jeroen Orsum with him. It's about 3 seconds, or actually 2 seconds between Holland and McDonald.
Yeah, and just to give you time on qualifying times, Holland put in an 8:11.9. McDonald put in an 8:17.2. So there should be plenty of time for Holland to run him down. Of course, Ursum racing out of the Netherlands, chasing somebody named Holland. Derek Holland, a U.S. driver. Let's go and look at Joe McDonald a little bit. Racing in 6th, all by himself. About 7 seconds behind Fergu, about 3.5 seconds up on Holland. Copyright laws have prevented Joe from racing in his familiar Burger franchise machine. Kind of missed the golden arches that used to be on that car.
And on an update on the leaders, we don't need to go there, but Panya is slowly but surely catching Mumalides because of the draft. They're now going through Bergwerk. There we have them on our screen, 1.2 seconds the gap, so they're back within the effective draft of Mumalides, so they should probably get there by Kesselchen, but latest at the carousel or the right-hander that is Steilstrecke before it.
Yeah, because it opens up here for a bit of a straightaway.
You know,
it'd be a considerable straight on any racetrack, but yeah, it's really not. Go ahead.
Yeah, it used to be Steilstrecke, it used to be there a steep uphill climb instead of a right-hander, but that just got way too dangerous for the cars of the time, having higher flying points than the Flugplatz. But as already mentioned, as already said, they did indeed catch Mumlidis at Steilstrecke, and off they go into right-hander.
Yeah, look at that. So, any hopes that Mumilidis thought of running away with this one have been dashed. It's a great job as the Italian and French drivers run him down through the carousel.
To conclude the story about the Steilstrecke, you still can see the uphill section that divides left there, and on this right-hander that comes up in just a second on top of the hill, you can actually see the gate to the left where the Steilstrecke used to come back onto the track. There it is. Beautiful on the right side of the shot there. But yeah, it used to be one of the steepest hills on this track.
So you're telling me somebody actually thought there was a part of this track that was too dangerous and they changed it? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, it's one of the two things that they changed over the years here. Also, the Flugplatz used to be a lot steeper, and it used to be only a wooden bridge.
I love it. See if we can get iRacing to give us a couple versions, bring back the wood bridge. All right, now they're getting close to getting another lap here where we'll be on that long straightaway. How do we pronounce that long straight? Dodengerhoa, is that what that is? Did I get that right?
Höhe.
Okay.
But it's technically not the name of the straight, but it's only a point of it.
Yeah, last night in the Advanced Boston Cup, I think I called it the Darlington Hoa, which is something totally different if you know her.
But no, technically it's the straight between Galgenkopf and Tiergarten.
Here we
obviously go. Past the tourist entrance and a big oak tree that also stands there.
Well, now the leaders are into the little carousel.
Coming up to Galgenkopf for the second time.
We're going to stay on the leaders and see how it plays out here. The gap, 1.2 seconds between Mumilidis and Pajan. Here we go.
Yeah, 1.1 seconds, so he will get there, obviously. Mumilidis trying to break the draft, but it's actually not effective at all what he does there. It's actually making Pagnan close in ever so slightly more than breaking the draft.
Let's see if Pinot goes around, see if he can pick up a car late here. He is.
There he goes.
John moves over. Boy, he does not get a real good run there. The car kind of stalls out.
But look at how they reel in Mummel, the green car ahead of them. Past Tiergarten they go, down the hill and back up again.
Now, if I have to know, I'm not really sure I want to be in second spot here. I guess he feels comfortable in his ability to stay with Mumilidis. I am not. I would, as a fan, I would prefer to have the Italian driver behind Mumilidis here to make sure that we don't lose the draft. But maybe I'm just being a little bit of a worrywart.
Turn one for the third time, and now going down towards Hatzenbach. One of the most difficult turns here.
Let's go. We missed. Holland made the pass. He ran down Joe McDonald and got him. We're going to take a look at this.
And really didn't take long for him to do that.
Did not.
Yeah, it happened past the tourist entrance. Beautiful drafting past over speed of about 3 miles per hour over the hill. Doesn't seem like a lot, but for these cars it's actually quite a bit. Because that 1 mile per hour that you carry over the hill is going to lead to about 3 miles per hour more at the bottom of the hill. There you can see it already past him under the Billstein sign.
Well, he's got, and we're talking about Holland, he's got about 2.5 seconds to get up to Fergu. My dad used to tell me the tree remembers, the axe forgets. Those were the two drivers that got together on the very first corner, the very first lap. And the way Holland is coming, it won't be long till he'll be able to give a little justice, a little payback here. And in that respect, I'm only talking about making the pass.
Yeah, and Holland is about 20 seconds faster than at this point. Let's actually see, is he faster than the leaders? He is faster than Shorty Fike by about 4 seconds, but he's not faster than our leaders. He's about 10 seconds slower than the leaders. So Derek Holland, he might have the chance to get up to Shorty Fike if he puts in a few hot laps.
The front three racing together. You know, Germany is the second largest beer consumer in Europe. An average person drinks 150 liters a year. Stefan, I'm going to give you a little quiz here. Which country do you think is the largest beer drinking country? I'll give you a clue. It's not yours.
Yeah, ours is actually in third place. It used to be P1 up till last year, but if I remember correctly, it's Poland.
No, I thought you were going to get it with how, at least maybe my stats are old, so I'm worried now. I have the Czech Republic, but I like Poland as an answer as well. Who knows? You could be right. You know what? I'm going to go with your answer because you seem to be way more informed than me on that one.
Let's actually have a short Google, and it is. Yeah, it is. There you go. It's the Czech Republic ahead of Austria and then Germany.
Okay.
So we were up there.
There's our latest stats. We'll have a graphic for that next week, folks.
I have to give it to you, the soup, though. It's 4 liters between Austria and Germany.
Okay, that's virtual tie.
Yeah, it's 138 liters per person in the Czech Republic, but it's only 105 for Austria.
Well, we're talking about liters of beer. We really want to talk about liters of fuel. There is a pit stop that will be required.
Yeah, and
honestly, it's got to be coming up pretty soon, I would think.
Yeah, honestly, I'm thinking that they either pit at the end of this lap or next lap. Don't think they can go 5 laps with the tanks.
Oh, you know what? My goodness, we were talking about this. Look how cool. Oh, man, Holland scared me a little bit. Did not take Derek Holland long to get to the back of Fergu.
Yeah, and he isn't going to make the pass into Bergwerk. The left before Bergwerk. Obviously, the very famous Lauder Links, where Niki Lauder was so fast he gone blazing. The good thing is we can choke him out because he lived to fight another day and even won a world championship after it, despite all odds.
All right, here's the chance for Holland if he wants it right now.
Goes
and
left.
Boy, I gotta wonder if there's a little trepidation, a little bit of a cautious pass here after getting together with somebody before. Might want to give him a little more room, and look what this is doing. This is bringing in Joe McDonald into the mix.
I think the problem more is that both of these cars have damage. So that both slows them down, which you can see with Joe McDonald, who really reeled both of them in. Let's see if he actually makes the pass happen into a Stahlstrecke. No, he does not. Too far back there. Has to wait probably up to Pflanzgarten or maybe to the Schwabenschwanz.
I do not want to make an assumption here, but I got to figure a top 5 would have to be one of Joe McDonald's best finishes ever. Now, these are 3 amateurs going at it, Fergu, Holland, and McDonald.
Yeah, it is. And as our director wrongly said, this might be for the amateur lead. No, it's not, because we have Ioannis Mimludis in the lead.
Yeah, I got a hunch that one is going to be regrouped in a second. That one probably slipped through the cracks. Look at Holland. He's looking to the right, looking to the left like a jaywalking mailman, trying to find the way around Forgu making that car as wide as a Julia Roberts smile right now. Not missing anything up in front. It's still Mumilidis, Pinot, and Jean-Franc Pinot doing a good job of hanging on to the back. Oh!
Holland right out sideways there. Someone somehow keeps it together on the green stuff. What a save.
We're going to be able to take a look at this one again.
My God, Derek Holland just all over the place, really trying to wheel that car. Probably even trying to deal it. Probably trying actually to go onto a YouTube compilation there, because it is known as the YouTube corner.
All right, as we look at these guys working towards the little carousel, I can tell you that our leaders are back out onto the back straight.
Yeah, they already passed.
It's got to be pit stop time. Yeah.
And Holland tried yet again to go side by side, but then really slammed the brakes before Schwabenschwanz. And totally misses his braking point into a small carousel now.
Jean, we better go back up front. We might see 3 wide here in a minute as they split the leader on each side. The clown is Pinot. The joker is Pajan. Stuck in the middle in the sealer wheel position. That was Ioannis Mumilidis, but they're not done yet.
And will Pinot actually be able to overtake Mumilidis? Yes, he will. Later on, brakes. Is it too late? No, it is. He gets it stopped. Is anyone going to pit? Yes, all of them.
2 in, 3 in. Here we go.
That was very close, though, for Pinot to actually make the pit entrance.
Was indeed.
Let's see, in behind, Fugu gets overtaken by Holland now. Also, Joe McDonald goes past.
Yep, all racing to be first into pit lane. So we watch this battle on screen as they fight at top speed. Meanwhile, there's a fight in pit lane at no speed.
That's the fight of the virtual pit crews for the 3 guys ahead.
Getting a big jump is Pajan. He is out first by a large margin.
Pajan didn't take any tires. Pajan didn't take any tires there. The other 2 did take left side tires.
The other 3 have come in. The one we were looking at first in is Holland, McDonald, and Forgu. But the big news is Pajan. Now, honestly, Stefan, you should be able to... Taking 2 tires shouldn't slow you down. Usually you need more fuel than the tires. But whatever the reason, he is well out in front now.
Actually, 2 tires take longer, just about a bit longer than fuel.
There.
Oh, Pinot! Pinot spun.
Oh, he was racing in third, the French driver.
Too much curb got the better of him through the wiggly part after Hudson-Bach.
Here's the good news. He didn't hit anything, and he gets the car turned around, and he still has a 21-second lead over Jordy Fike. We forgot to mention the Fike sits in between those 2 3-car battles. Fike did make his pit stop racing in 4.
There you can see it just goes way too hard over the left-hand curb just before Hocheichen. Spins it around, doesn't need 360 and continues going. And interestingly enough, Derek Holland lost a lot of time to everyone else. Even Sharon Ursum got past him again. I have to see.
Yeah, maybe he had some damage to repair.
I think he sped in pit lane because he was stationary, didn't take any tires. And everyone got past him.
So he makes his way around Ursum. He's back out in 7th position. Ursum racing in 8th. Let's pay a few bills. Let's do our Trips back marker shout out. We're going to start with the driver no longer in the race, Trip Smith. Can't look at him, but when you sponsor the segment, you get a mention. Let's go to Jeroen Ursum in 8th position. Was in touch with Derek Holland. Hey, I'm not supposed to be doing this, Stefan. This is yours. I'm sorry, fell back to all my years of doing it. You go, take it, man.
But yeah, as you said, Chernorsum, he is about a minute behind your leader at the moment in 8th place. In 7th place, the before mentioned Derek Holland with a speeding in pit lane penalty. He did sit 15 seconds longer in the pit stall than anyone else. That explains why he's back in 7th place and not up there fighting for P5, maybe even P4. Next up in line, that is going to be Joe McDonald. He is fighting said P5 against Jean-Marie Fugu. They are fighting already for quite a bit. Joe McDonald got brought up to Fugu by Derek Holland. And yeah, as said, P5 goes to Jean-Marie Fugu. He started in 6th place, had a little bit of a contact with Derek Holland in turn 1. And they are actually not too far away from Jordy Fike, who is in 4th place. He's starting 5th place, but he is starting to get a bit slower on his own pace.
Got about 25 seconds back to Fergu. And there you have it. Trips back marker shout out. Sorry for almost stealing that one there, Stefan. Old habits are hard to break sometimes. Up in front, Marcelo Pajan. My goodness, he has opened up a bit the gap now. It was about 4.3 seconds, and now 5.3 seconds on Mumulidis.
Yeah, I think Mumulidis actually had a wrong shift somewhere. Not sure though, but it will be interesting. As you said, he did open up the gap a little bit, and it's going to be interesting now to see what Mumulidis can do as they go up to Mutkurve.
So with things settling down a bit, let's go ahead and focus on the 5th place battle. That's the best one out there right now. Fergu being stalked by Joe McDonald. Again, McDonald's looking for that first top 5, I think, in his career as he runs them down. Hey, if you haven't watched the Advanced Mazda Cup yet, I'm going to talk about it from last night. Spoiler alert, so cover your ears for about 15 seconds here. As, you know, channeling Joan of Arc, Madame Curie, how about Amelia Earhart, guys like Sally Ride. Sarah Dove became the first female race winner on a GSRC broadcast by winning in the Advanced Mazda Cup right here at the ring. An achievement overdue and well-deserved. Congrats to Little Bird. And as we talk about that, Joe McDonald side by side with Fergu right now.
Can I uncover my ears again?
Yes.
Good. Yeah, Joe McDonald.
You should watch that though.
Joe McDonald putting up the pass against Jean-Marie Fugu. Perfectly done before Mutkurve. Next up is going to be Jordy Fike, but as I mentioned, they are about 20 or so seconds apart. So it might actually be difficult for them without Derek Holland to catch up to Jordy Fike.
Working lap number 4. Started with 9 drivers, 8 of them still racing. Trip Smith had an early exit. He'll get credited with 9th position. Those of you unfamiliar with the series might be thinking, hey, 9th position, that's going to be a good points day for Smith, but that's not the way the points work. It's 100 points for winning, 25 points for last, no matter the size of the field, then they ration them out in between. So Trip will get last place points, even though he finished 9th.
Yeah, and his exit stage left happened about, 10 or so minutes ago. No, actually, way more than that already. And yeah, it's only 2 laps that he's down.
Ursum is in pits for some reason. Not sure what's going on. Has he been in there for a while? Yeah. Yeah, it's been about a minute.
It's actually nothing that we can or should go to because he just parked it. Oh, I see where it happened. Derek Holland, the triple right, or miss hit, as it's also called in English. Derek Holland had a slide through there, and Ursum, a little bit of a target fixation there, also had a little bit of a slide, slamming it into the barrier on the left side, and lots of wheel damage to his car, and he had to park it after X minute.
Well, Jerome will be happy we're not going to be able to get that one on replay, but that was a fine description. Yeah, we're looking at Pajan. Hey. Look at that car behind. You know who that is.
Yeah, and
Mumalides,
since I
coming.
last checked at about Brünchen, Mumalides did get about 7/10 out of the lead of Marcelo Pagna. So even though Mumalides is a far ways back, it's 4 seconds, but that's not all that much if you think about the size of this track.
All right, now I always get in trouble for being chicken little and then the sky is falling when it comes to fuel, but I'll just give you these numbers. Now, Stefan chalks it up to that Pajan didn't take tires. I'm not sure that's the case. Pajan in the box for 17.8. Mumalides in there for almost 3 seconds more, 20.6. That basically is the interval between these guys right now. Now, how does 17.8 compare to other drivers? Fike was in there for 18.6. Fergu for 20 seconds. So of all the drivers I see making a pit stop, Pajan was in there the least amount of time of anybody. But unlike Mumalides, I guess maybe he was in the draft for much of the opening lap, so maybe he saved a little bit.
Yeah, and Jean-Marie Fergu tried to come back at Joe McDonald. Wasn't able to do so. Weirdly enough, that probably is because of his left side damage. So he stays behind in P6 right now.
Joe McDonald out there racing with GSRC on the hood. That's always good for a few tenths of a second. A little GSRC up on the front, at least on my screen. He's got G-Seat, a GS-5 on the back on the trunk. Nice red, black, and white paint scheme. The yellow car of Fergu. Oh, please let it be yellow, Joe. Is that yellow? Come on, director. All right, I got one right. Citrus flavored. All right, these guys have now completed lap number 4. They are working lap number 5, as are our leaders.
Yeah, and Mumalides 3.9 seconds, so he did chew another 2/10 out of the lead of Marcelo Pagna. So slowly but surely he's getting closer.
Jean has 4 laps in the book. 2 to go. Talk about books. You know, the first book ever printed was right here in Germany. Gutenberg Bible. It's a little bit of a segue as the commentators continue to fill this 9-car field, now down to 7 here on this big track. 7 cars racing, and how far around is it around here? Is it how many miles? 7 miles. Is that what we are?
12.
Oh, just under 13. So that's almost that's almost 2 miles per car right now that's out there.
12.94 miles to be 100% precise.
Joe McDonald sitting in 5th. You know what? I probably have the ability to take a quick look here and see if McDonald has actually a top 5 to his name. So I look in here and I look to see no top 5s for Joe McDonald. 64 races under his belt, looking for his first top 5. That is news. Boy, I'm telling you, you take that, you add on to what happened last night in the Advanced Mazda Cup, it's a weekend of milestones here on the Global Sim Racing channel. I'm going to go out and see if I can slam dunk the way things are going. I might be able to do that. Everybody accomplishing things left and right. Jean's gap, we won't need to go there. Still 4.2 seconds. You can see it right up there on screen. Jean and Mumalides.
You know what? I'm once again gonna hang myself out of the window there, and I'm actually gonna say that Derek Holland, he isn't all that far away from these two guys.
He is not, indeed.
He really is gaining.
Yeah, because we've made the mistake twice already. We've seen Holland. He already ran down McDonald. He already ran down Fergu, and then he got into trouble, and he got there quickly. In fact, we had trouble. We almost missed a few of them. So he's coming quick. He is almost just a tick over 7 seconds behind.
I just looked at the timings, especially on the last lap of all these guys, and I was like, what the hell, Pinot, 8:48, what happened to him? And then I remembered, oh yeah, it was that he had that spin. It really does sometimes drag. It sometimes really feels like this track is never ending, especially on how slow laps go by in every single car.
When you race it, when you drive it, you do get a feeling of actually going from one destination to another. It is that big. Compared to a normal lap on a racetrack where you feel like you're going around in a circle. Here you feel like you've accomplished something when you get to the low end of the track.
Yeah, exactly. For example, the Nürburgring Grand Prix Strecke, it fits about 4 times into the Nordschleife.
There you go. Hey, Pajan's gap is shrinking. Let's go up to the front for a minute. It's down now to 3 seconds. The Greek streak is a-coming, and it's coming at a pretty good clip.
Yeah, and one thing I have to give credits to Marcelo, it's actually the first part of this track, everything up to Schwedenkreuz. He's actually pulling about 4 to 5 tenths on Mumulidis alone there from turn 1 up to Schwedenkreuz, but everything else is in the hands of Mumulidis, and it really shows as he does really dig into this gap, especially here after Brünchen. He really digs into that.
Don't need to go there, but Holland made another slight mistake, and his charge to Fergu has stopped right now. We ride on board with Mumulidis. Can he see his target? There it is, a little speck. Nothing guarantees me that I'm going to race slower than when I can see the car I'm chasing. .8 seconds, 2.7 seconds. The gap is dropping. Going to be coming around, getting the white flag here pretty soon.
Yeah, and then only 8 more minutes.
Target gets a little bit bigger.
And just half a second out of the draft at this point. It will be interesting if he actually will be getting there by the end of Tiergarten next time round. He has 2.5 seconds. With the draft over all these straights, it will close in faster than it did this lap. But he has to stay clean. Same with Panyan ahead. They have to stay clean. Otherwise, they won't have a chance to fight for that P1. Oh, Mumulidis! That was close with the wall. Sideways through that braking zone.
Did not lose any time. Doing okay. The Hound is after the hare. The question is, will the chef be cooking up the Hassenpfeffer before this race is over? 2.4 seconds between Pajan, the Rabbit, and Mumulidis, the Hound.
Yeah, not quite 2 seconds.
Let's go to fifth real quick. Here comes the pass. That yellow car gets out there and has no oomph. There is no oomph in that car. That's a technical term for no straight line speed.
Yeah, the damage he has is slowing him down quite a lot. He's actually, as soon as he goes out of the draft, really drops about 3 miles per hour up the hill, and you can see how much that is hurting him. So if Fergu wants to have a chance of that P5 next time around, he has to do it after Tiergarten. On the way down, he has to go side by side, actually get ahead of Joe McDonald. Otherwise, he will not be able to fight for that P5.
Holland now 6.5 seconds back. He's back on track. Got the car on rails again. Might be too little too late, but that car continues to close in, trying to take away a top 5 from Joe McDonald. It would be his first.
Another car that is closing in little by little. Ioannis Moumoulidis. He is 2.3 seconds away from Marcelo Pagnan at the point of Schwedenkreuz. Down they go towards the Fuchsrud. There we go.
2.3 seconds back. Needs to pick up a little more time. He's got plenty of time to run him down, get close enough to make a shot on that long straightaway before we end the lap.
Yeah, but now comes the strong part of Moumoulidis. He did actually gain in that first sector up to Schwedenkreuz, where Pagnan is actually faster than him. So that is a good omen for the charge of the German driver.
Let's break away from this real quick and take an opportunity to put the camera on Jordy Fike, the sheriff. We really haven't given him much love. He's been out there quietly racing in 4th position, singing an Eric Carmen tune all by myself. 18 seconds behind Pinot, 34 seconds up on Joe McDonald. Just hoping to bring it home.
Yeah, and since pretty much lap 1 halfway through it, he hasn't seen a single other car. He's feeling probably like either racing in a ghost town or in a hot lap challenge.
Up front, there's Jordy. Up front, the gap now down to just a tick over 2 seconds, with plenty of tarmac ahead.
I honestly thought that Moumoulidis will be close enough here already to be at least in the draft of Marcelo Pagnan, but no, he is still over 2 seconds back. Actually had a little bit of a mistake there before X-Mühle, so he lost yet again 2/10 to Marcelo Pagnan up ahead.
Battle for 5th continues. McDonald able to hold off Fergu. The good news is these drivers, well, good news for us as fans, bad news for them, is that they're a minute 10 seconds behind the leader. So as the leaders cross, which we will definitely cover, we'll have plenty of time to come back and watch the last 60 seconds of racing that's going on between McDonald and Fergus as Joe looks to get his first top 5 ever. There's the GSRC on the back of Peugeot. Looking back at Moumoulidis. Not seeing a lot of gain there. They go through Convent Valley, which is named obviously because there, I believe, used to be a convent there. Up into, I'll give you the English translations, High Lookout, and now down into the carousel. Stefan, how do you say carousel in German?
Karussell.
Well,
I'm actually not even sure that Hohe Acht is a lookout. So I think that is
High Point, okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just named High Point. Yeah, it is the highest point, as our director pointed out. It is the highest point of this racetrack. As they climb up to that exact point right now, Moumoulidis, the gap 1.6 seconds. So he is in that effective draft, and if he stays close and gets ever so slightly closer, especially through this part where he is much stronger than Marcelo, he will be there.
1.5, he's coming. McDonald holds off Fergu. Fergu continues to race a couple car lengths back. With apologies to them, we're going to focus our attention up front now for the race win.
You really can see how Ioannis really closes in with your bare eye. You can notice that that car of Marcelo Pagnan, that gap shrinks and shrinks and shrinks.
continuing to close now down to a second.
And we're coming now to the most fun part of this track. First off, kleiner Sprunghügel. There we go, Sprunghügel, and then through the Stefan Bellof S, the German driver who way too early died in Spa-Francorchamps in the Group C car. Through Schwabenschwanz they go, and look at that speed that Mumuludis can carry over Panyan. That might actually have been tactical maneuver by Panyan, letting off the slowing down a little bit more to be able to get back over Tiergarten.
Maybe trying to time when Mumulidis gets to him. All right, here we go. It's all about chess right now, assuming that Pajan has enough fuel to play this full throttle. When does Mumulidis go? Does not want to go too early, Stefan.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see him waiting still. I think it's gonna start at the tourist entrance where the tarmac changes right here. Now he starts to gain. You can see that very nicely. Goes to the right, goes to the left. There they are side by side past the tourist entrance.
Pajan is sitting duck now. Let's see if there's time. He'll tuck back in behind and see if there's any time to get a run. Here he comes back in once Mumuludis clears him. Mumuludis tried to time it perfectly. Now Pajan gets there. He's not able to get far enough back to get much of a slingshot. He pulls up about half car length out. Pajan weaves. They are now side by side. Cialis Bathtubs going into the final corner. In the preferred position, it's going to be the Greek streak. They touch. Pajan is in the wall. Mumulidis will be credited with the win. Pajan gets the car around. He has 19 seconds to get it across before the French driver of Jean-Francois Renault gets there. Pajan is going to get it going in the right direction. He's going to limp the car across in second position. We're going to come back and look at it later. We're going to jump all the way back now to Joe McDonald and Jean-Marie Fergu. We're going to assume that Pinot and Jordi Fight cross the line as these guys racing under a cloud now. Here we go. Let's see if that citrus flavored car has any bit of straight line speed once he pulls to the side by side with McDonald. Joe McDonald looking for his first top 5. 64 career races, never seen a top 5. This will be a milestone, and it looks like he has the pace to do it.
2 miles per hour faster in favor of Fugu. 3 miles per hour, he's getting there. Now he's gonna stall out though. 22 versus 20. Slowing down over Tiergarten they go, but this looks promising.
McDonald left the preferred position open on the inside. Now he's gonna have to work on. We just saw the same thing happen for Mouloudou and Pajan. Right now, and a bump in the wall. And look at the sportsmanship from Joe McDonald as he sacrifices his first top 5. It's going to go to Derek Holland, who has 1 top 5 under his belt. Who gets it going first? Fergu gets it around. He's going to get credited with 6. And that is some good sportsmanship. McDonald sacrifices a milestone in order for a display of how sportsmanship is done. We're going to look at a replay here. This is our leaders.
Yeah, and it's all a racing incident there. Panyan on the inside hits the big bump. Mumulidis on the outside. He starts to slide on the braking, and those 2 lines cross because Panyan pushes to the outside. Mumulidis spins to the inside. Mumulidis able to carry on. Same with Panyan. Panyan finished in second place, but the win goes to Mumulidis because of this incident.
Well, it took a long time to get there, but there was some excitement at the end. Congratulations to Jean-Franc Pignol for the final podium position, Jordi Fike in 4th, and Derek Holland rounding out your top 5. The racing is over here in Germany. The broadcast is far from done. We'll return to run down the entire finishing order, talk to some of the drivers before we put a lock on the gate. Back in a few. Welcome back to the Hoisingfeld Wrap-Up Show, streaming your way on the Global Sim Racing channel via the iRacing Esports Network. I want to talk about Hoisingfeld a little bit. Hoisingfeld Solutions, currently being used by countless professional teams and drivers, is now within budgetary reach, all without having to compromise on realism or engineering value. They offer advanced vehicle software and hardware able to simulate any combination of race car and track. Be a better race car driver and get in touch today at hoisingfeld.com. All right, I'm going to take the top 4. I'm going to leave the bottom 5 for Stefan. Jonas Moumelidis, the Greek streak, gets the win. He was able to outdo Marcelo Pajan as the excitement happened in the final corner. Jean-Franc Pignot, he's going to get 3rd position ahead of the Sheriff Jody Fike, who had a very quiet run for 4th. Stefan?
P5 went to Derek Holland, who didn't even need to alter his line. The carnage that unfolded between Jean-Marie Fugu, who took 6th place, and Joe McDonald, who finished in 7th place, displaying some great sportsmanship, letting the position to Jean-Marie Fugu. The 2 cars that didn't finish are Jerome Olsen in 8th and Trip Smith in 9th.
Yeah, Darius Holland's escapades was interesting. He was up and down the order all race, and he ends up in 5th. That's probably right where he deserves to be. All right, that's going to wrap it up here, except for the plugs. We'd like to thank everybody at the Quality Racing Sim-dicate for organizing the series and contracting with GSRC, the broadcaster. Thanks to our sponsors, Sim Sports News and Hoisingfeld. On screen now are just some of the equipment and software used to string cyberspace into your place. June Lalonde provides us with our wonderful music. See the screen to how to get a hold of more of her great work. All right, the MX-5 will return in 2 weeks. That's going to be May 11th, round 9. From the Origami Pretzel Suzuka. I imagine the turnout's going to be a little bigger there, so you want to tune in for that one. Should be a good event. GSRC via ISN will be there to bring you all the action. We hope you join us. Next up on ISN, well, it's going to be SimSpeed's coverage of the Virtual Racing School's V8 Scops. I think I got that one right. Round 4 from Phillip Island. Coverage starts Sunday. I think it's going to be at like 4 a.m. in the morning. I don't have the time down here, but I'm pretty sure it's Sunday 4 a.m. Next up, let's go down here for a minute. It's going to be sliding across the screen now, or just some of the upcoming broadcasts. So check those out and mark them down on your calendar. If you'd like more information about GSRC, globalsimracingchannel.com, Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. Also, if you haven't done so yet, become a YouTube subscriber by heading over to our YouTube page and hitting that big red button. Finally, on behalf of the entire crew, that would be Stefan, Joe, and Dougie, would like to thank all of you for watching as the Greek streak, Ioannis Moumelidis, picks up his first career win here in the MWT World Tour as he wins at the ring. With that said, we're off to have fun storming the castle. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.